What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be making a video on Zazzle being different from Redbubble, if any differences exist. So let's go ahead and talk about it. I got a comment from Johnny Orbital. First of all, Johnny Orbital has been in the comments working hard, working on his businesses. He's experienced maybe a little bit of setbacks from Redbubble, but he's on his way forward. And he puts the comment, "Hey, I've come to a realization about other sites." And he's referring to Redbubble, by the way. He's talking about other sites other than Redbubble. And he says, "It doesn't matter which site we use, or I use, if I learn to get good at sending traffic my way, like using Pinterest and Instagram, then I should be fine." And then he says, "Does that sound about right?" And then what he says, "I'll keep uploading to another site yesterday. And so the journey begins again, LOL. Until I hear back from Redbubble, of course. Hopefully I get reinstated." So this is an individual, guys, who started using Redbubble. For whatever reason, got his account suspended or removed, and kept moving forward by working on other platforms. And not only that, but he came to a realization that he says all sites, it doesn't matter what site he uses, but as long as he gets good at the skill of driving traffic. And the answer is that's absolutely right. In today's video, we're going to be talking about, if Zazzle is any different from Redbubble in certain ways. And the answer is yes and no. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Zazzle is different in terms of the nuances, the mechanics, the things that make the platform different. Yes, it's different. You can't take the same strategies, tactics, tips, and information from one platform to the other because that's a recipe for failure. But it is the same in the effort that you learn the idea that you have to build traffic. See, with all these different platforms, Zazzle, Redbubble, and every other platform you can mention, there's only one way to get, two ways to get sales. And the first way is that if somebody searches for a product, they find yours, right? And the second way is promoting your product outside of the platform. Right? So outside of the platform could mean anything. It could mean a blog, could mean social media, could be anything, right? Which is irrelevant to the concept of the video, but that's essentially the same. That's going to be the same thing across the board. It doesn't matter what platform you're on, but that's going to be the same. There's not going to be a website that does something completely different because that's just how the internet works. That's the basis of the internet, right? It's based, search engines, built off search engines, and there's two different search engines, and we've talked about this in the tagging course where we have the Redbubble search engine and we have the Google search engine. Now, speaking of courses, we actually have released now officially the Zazzle tagging course, so if you're interested in getting access, it's the first link on the website, autopilotpassiveincome.com. Go over here, click Zazzle tagging course. You could see here what the curriculum actually has. There's two main concepts to the curriculum. We have a module on how not to tag, which is the first part, and then with workshops throughout the course, and then we have how to tag. And there are going to be workshops. There's one workshop before this module, then we have workshops after this module, right? Then we have a workshop after this module, okay? And the point of the course is just to show how to tag properly. And in order to know how to do something properly, you have to know what are the positives and the negatives, the things that we do commonly that are not good and the things that we do commonly that are good. And so that's what this course is for. Now, I'm going to have a separate video on this, and I'm going to leave it here on the website, so that when people come, or when you guys come to the website, you actually know what you're getting, and I'll have an explainer. So I'm not telling you to go buy it. I'm just saying that I'll have a video on there if you happen to be interested. So I'd say wait for the video. But if you join right now, you'll be able to access all the content, okay? And so, yes, the Zazzle course is live, and we'll start talking about Zazzle now. And I've had a lot of requests of people asking me about the Zazzle tagging course, and it's going to be priced the same way as the other courses, okay? The more that we add content to it, the more we're going to increase the price. It's just the way it is. And so far, we have all the content that we need for now. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back into it. But the Zazzle, in terms of like I said, in terms of the setups, the behaviors, they're exactly the same. The behavior is the search, right? The search function. And how do you get seen? By certain mechanics inside the website, just like Redbubble. Well, what are those mechanics? Well, here's the thing. Now things change, right? The platforms are different now. And what I really want to focus on is tagging, because Zazzle tagging is the one thing that can really, really move the needle. And when I mean the one thing, here's what I'm talking about. Because of Zazzle's platform, and for those who don't know, Zazzle is a consumer customization platform, which means if I'm a customer and I see a shirt, I see a mug, I see whatever. Let's say you see this mug right here that says Friends. This mug right here, if I want to take this and I want to use the same style mug, but I want to replace it with a different image, I can do that. I can customize it as a customer, right? The beautiful thing about this is that the seller still gets the profit anyway, right? Because they're using their official design. And the cool thing is that we live now in a customizable economy. Everything is at the touch of a button, right? If we want to order food to our house, we can just click a button and food shows up. If we want to online date, we can click a button and now we're dating people. It's a very what's the word? It's a very, the word escapes me at the moment, but it's very instantaneous, right? It just comes to you in a second with really no effort, no work. And as things change in society, people are going to be looking more for things that they can customize. And that's not to say that platforms like Redbubble would be written off. Absolutely not. I mean, they're too big to fail at this point. But what happens is platforms like Zazzle will continue to grow and continue to get bigger. In fact, on a Google Trend scale, Zazzle is slightly smaller than Redbubble. I mean, it's big, but it's very slightly smaller. So I think it's like a 10 million difference on a monthly basis in terms of visitors and things like that. So they're very close in terms of if you compare all the other print-on-demand websites and you compare them in terms of demand, traffic, and things like that, there's a good healthy amount on Zazzle. Now, like I said, the mechanics, the idea of the concept of functioning mechanics are all the same on all platforms, right? Somebody searches a product, somebody finds it, etc. But the actual mechanics are different, the nuances. So because Zazzle is a customization economy, right, where I can customize my product, right? So like, for example, this paper napkin here that says Olivia and Andrew, I don't want to buy a paper napkin that says Olivia and Andrew. My name is Mark, and let's say my girlfriend's name is Mary. Okay, this is just an example. I want to be able to customize it, right? So I can go over here to personalize, and I can add my own names. And so I could write, for example, Mary and Mark, right? This is just an example, okay? And the idea about this is that when you're doing things like this, when you're working with a platform that can customize things, the mechanics do become different in an effort to where the keywords are not the same that you're going to use, the focus that you're going to have is not the same, and the effective titling is not the same. You guys have heard me speak about this in the Redbubble tagging course, where we focused on a portion of the listing. And I'm not going to say what that portion is because I don't want to expose content of the course, premium paid content, but the portion of the listing, the Redbubble listing, is solely responsible for Google SEO. What portion of the listing is that? Now, don't write that answer in the comments, but I'm just saying, you guys probably know if you've joined. That's a little bit different here, because that same portion of the listing here doesn't necessarily contribute to that kind of content, and not all the time, at least, not as black and white as Redbubble is. And like I said, this is a slightly different approach. So if we treat Zazzle the same way to Redbubble, it's not going to be a good game plan. And the idea here is that taking advantage of Zazzle's customization feature is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of other things we have to be aware of when we join other platforms like Zazzle. Other than just the general function, there are much more products that you can sell on Zazzle than you can on Redbubble. So if we go over here to sell, I mean, the list just goes on, thousands of products, literally. I mean, on Redbubble, I can't customize a golf ball or a skateboard, but I could do that all here. Zazzle, I think, is cool because when you have so many of these different features, sometimes for some people, it might be hard to put the nail on the head. I've experienced, guys, more bulk orders on Zazzle than I've experienced on any other platform, which is very odd for me. At first, I thought it was odd, but no, I realized that this is normal. The platform actually incentivizes customers to buy more of a product. Like if you buy 10, if you buy 20, 40, 50, that's incentivized. It's motivated. Why? Because they give discounts for the more you buy. So if I go over here, and let's say I want to buy, let's go ahead in here and just pick any random one. And let's go ahead and go over here to our quantity. You could see here, I could save a certain percentage by adding a certain amount. So if I add 500, I could save 48% on that. So it would normally cost 21,000. Now it costs 10,000. Can you imagine if you get a design or an order where somebody buys 500 of something and it costs them 10,975? How much profit would you take from that? Well, you could do the logical, mathematics on that. If you took home a 15% profit, that's over $1,000. If you took 10%, that's over $1,000. If you took 20%, that's why it does make a difference. And all of these things come into play. All of these ideas come into play. And the pricing strategy for certain products should be different. I'm going to keep it real with you. It should be different. They shouldn't all be the same. The way I price in terms of, profit for something like a pair of, some napkins is going to be drastically different than what I plan to do for a skateboard. Very different. And the reason why is because you have to think of, okay, how much is somebody willing to really buy? And this is just different thoughts in my head and how Redbubble differs than Zazzle, but Redbubble is different because a consumer will find a product, sit there, and say, either I want it or not, yes or no, black and white. With Zazzle, it's very different. It's not the same at all. I can look at this product and say, you know what, I like this. And then if I'm wise enough to actually look through the listing, and a lot of consumers on Redbubble actually miss this button right here that says view this design on 96 plus products. A lot of people don't even see this. I mean, it's odd to me, but a lot of people seriously do not. And they don't know that the product comes on different products. See, Redbubble gets a lot of their traffic through Google organic search. And maybe for the people who are, selling on Google or the consumers coming through Google organic search are not completely aware of what Redbubble is and the way Redbubble works. And the same goes for Zazzle in that case. Maybe they're not completely aware. But with that being said, all these platforms, just like Johnny Orbital said in the comments, all these platforms are great. It's not about the platform. It's about understanding how to drive the traffic to that particular platform. And traffic is one of the issues, right? Traffic is one of those components that control success. What is another thing that controls success? It's the design. It's not just the traffic. Because imagine if I send the best high-quality traffic, right? And there's different levels of traffic. You have bad traffic, you have fake traffic, you have great traffic, you have amazing traffic, you have good traffic, right? If I send the very best, highest quality of traffic to my website, but the designs are all terrible, who's going to buy? The answer is nobody. That's why and I always say this for Redbubble, it's not important to just have good tags, but you have to have decent designs that somebody's actually willing to pay for as well, right? You can have the best tags, but if your product was pixelated and it wasn't fitting right on the product, would anybody logically buy your product? The answer is absolutely not. Nobody would buy it, not a single person. And you could be missing out on thousands and thousands of visitors on a daily basis to your product, but you wouldn't know because you're not getting any sales. Or you could know if you check the analytics, but that's a completely different scenario, different conversation. But you kind of get my point here, is that who would logically, just because they see something, buy something that is unattractive? The answer is nobody. So those are the two logical components to selling on all platforms. But the mechanics of those specific platforms are drastically different. Drastically. I mean, the even the notation on the websites, you could just look. The way they're set up is completely different. I mean, you can add an image, you can add text as a creator. I mean, as a consumer, right? I'm not logged into my account here, you could see, and I could do all this stuff that, I can't do this on Zazzle. Excuse me, I can't do this on Redbubble. So there's a little bit of different concepts to that. But, Redbubble does differ than Zazzle, and anybody who gets into Zazzle who has not been on Redbubble before, I highly, highly recommend that you take each platform and study it on its own. I'm going to be doing a Q&A soon because we do have a lot of comments that I didn't get to answer yet. But the Q&As are just simple. I just go read questions and just answer them live. So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below of this video, and I'll try to be able to answer them for future videos. So if you guys are interested, do that. But I'll talk to you guys later. All right, peace out, bye.